Unforgiveness is another one. We'll make up reasons why I don't have to forgive someone. And we'll harden our hearts, and then we'll press into that. And all of a sudden, we become preeminent. We become the important people. We become self-focused, and we hurt the people around us. It doesn't matter what it is. When we allow hard-heartedness into our lives, when the Gentile is doing it, when we're doing it, it brings about this ignorance. Ignorance brings about and allows sensuality to grow, and then we press into that. And it destroys. So Paul's writing here saying, don't do that. Don't do what Gentiles do. And if you were to look at Rome and you look at how the deities in Rome, the false deities were worshipped in Rome, it's disgusting. The child abuse, the temple prostitution, the givenness to sensuality, it's disgusting. And they just pushed and pushed and pushed. And we think, oh, I'll never do that. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. We are absolutely available for that if we harden our hearts. So he says, stop doing what Gentiles are doing. They're full of greed. Verse 20, that, however, what we were just talking about, is not the way you learned when you have learned about Christ and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that it is in Jesus, right? So we have something different. Jesus told us, what? We take up our cross every day and follow him, right? We're taught in Christ, we crucify the old lust, the old flesh. We say no to the old nature. He says, you weren't taught to live like a Gentile. You were taught in Christ to live according to God, to seek him, to be involved with him, not just to abstain, not just to not do stuff, but instead to push forward and to know him. That's the crux of Christianity. The crux of Christianity is not, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. The crux is know God. Greek word gnosko, experience God. Chase after God. Abstinence of anything will be futile and useless if you're not being filled. You have to press in. A Christianity just based on not doing stuff will be a dry Christianity that will leave you most likely either very angry because you'll feel like, I've said no to all this stuff my whole life and gotten nothing. Remember the big brother? When the prodigal son comes home and the father's like, I'm so glad my son was dead and now he's alive. What was the big brother's beef? I have faithfully served you the entire time that your son was gone. I've never asked you for a thing. And now that he's squandered everything and he's back, you're throwing a party. That's works-based religion. That's where it ends. I've been doing all this stuff. This kid acted up and you're kind to him. It's jealousy. It's anger. It's where religion gets you. So we don't want to become that older brother. He's going to go on from there, and he says this, when you heard that about Christ, verse 22, you were taught with regard to your former way of life to put off your old self. Notice it's your old self, not to put off your current self, to put off your old self, who you were, okay? Which is being corrupted by its deceitful nature, deceitful desires. There again, our desires are deceitful. Our old nature, the nature we received from Adam, our sin nature, the old man, the corrupt nature, how all the different phrases the Bible uses for it, who we used to be before we knew Christ, sons of disobedience, sons of destruction, all those words that are used, those phrases, he says, you were taught to put that off. In other words, not to put it on, not to be worn, not to be who you are, not to be as an identity anymore. And he says it's being corrupted. It is in that old nature is still being corrupted. It will always be corrupted. And it's corrupted in this case in this way, with deceitful desires. How many of us could raise our hand today and say, I have pursued a deceitful desire? Probably all of us. Something I thought would make me happy, and it wasn't. I will give you an absolutely pathetic example from last night. So last night, I'm like pseudo on this like health journey, right? Not just, it's this liver stuff, whatever. I'm fine, don't worry about it. But it's just, I'm supposed to eat a certain way, right? So I'm sitting there and I've been, basically we had Friday night fellowship, and that's called usually my cheat night, so I had like a cheesecake or whatever. Got to keep the old A1C down. So I'm sitting on my couch, and Chloe, the temptress, has Doritos. you know? So I've been good the whole week, right? And I had some cheesecake at Friday Night Fellowship, and then I'm like, that's it, I'm good. And I'm like, all right. So I sit down, I did what I was supposed to do, yesterday or whatever, and I'm just like, just hear her just like crunching while we're watching First 48, and she's just crunching the Doritos. I'm just like, Those Doritos will be so tasty if I eat some Doritos. This is about to get real pathetic real fast, okay? So I walk over and I snatch the Doritos, and she's like, I was done with them anyway. And I'm like, that's disappointing. No, I wasn't. But I was like, so I get the Doritos, and I start eating them. And I'm like, these aren't as good as I remember. So I eat more. And I'm just like eating Doritos. And I'm like, these are okay, but they're not that great. And I'm still eating Doritos. And so finally I'm like, all right, I'm putting the Doritos away. I've shot the day. My A1C is going to punish me now, but whatever. So I put the Doritos away. And then Chloe, she's on her, she's like, oh, I brought some bao home from, she works at the boba place. She's like, I brought some bao home. You ever seen Kung Fu Panda? The things that he shoves in his mouth, the dumpling things? That's what those are. And they're barbecue pork. And I'm like, well, I already ate the Doritos. I think I'll have some bao. So I get the bao and I bite into it. I'm like, this is not that good. So then I eat both of them. Ridiculous. Absolutely. I literally go to bed what kind of loser am I? How did I eat Doritos and bao in the same night? And I didn't like either one of them. But the whole time I'm like, surely this next bite will be the bao I've always remembered when it was hot and not 6 hours old. Surely this will be the bao. This will be the time it works. This will be the time I'm satisfied. And I ate 2 bao and half a bag of chips for nothing. For nothing. A deceitful desire. That's all it was. That's what the old nature has for us. Deceitful desires. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be Danielle Steele novels. Surely this will be the stud that satisfies me, I'll read about. It could be Netflix. It could be Downton Abbey. This is finally when they get their stuff together and Mary marries the right guy and I'll feel so good about it. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. It's a deceitful desire because we will never be satisfied that has anything of temporal origin. Never. But we will constantly tell ourselves we will. And Satan is right there to help us. And oftentimes our unbelieving friends will say the same thing. Oh, this is the jet ski that'll satisfy me. This is the job. This is the house where, unfortunately, from a lot of wrecked marriages, this is the spouse that will satisfy me. No, those things don't exist. Only in Jesus. Only in eternity. In the eternal origin of things can those exist. And the irony is I will say that, and 2 weeks from now, I'll probably do the same thing. I don't want to. But I'll probably be sitting there, and Tam will make this amazing popcorn. That actually is kind of worth the time because the popcorn's pretty good. But that was the wrong analogy to bring in, because the popcorn, I'll definitely be like, I'm glad I ate all that. But you get the point. Deceitful desires.